This is Dr. Carroll, and this video is about primitive wrapper classes in Java. So all Java variables are either 1, a primitive type, or 2, a reference type. So first, the primitive type. So with primitive types, we store a value on the stack frame. That's what is stored there. And so some examples are integers, doubles, characters, floats, longs, other booleans, other things like that. So the other type is reference type. And so these are variables that are an instance of a class, and we often call these objects. And so we store a reference or a location of the object on the stack. So some examples would be instance of a class, whether it be a string, a scanner, your bank account, a simple person, and arrays also fit into this category as well. So Java comes with several classes that only work with objects, for example in Java's collection library. And so to use these classes, we need a reference type of an object, a version of one of the following primitive types. And this isn't all of them, but it's just a short list. And so what Java provides is a reference type for each one of these. So a reference type for an int is integer, notice the capital I, double, capital D, character, capital C, boolean, capital B, and long, capital L. I just realized I have a typo. That should be char instead of character. I was trying to put it in colors. Sorry about that. So char for lowercase char for the primitive type. So my apologies for that. There's also some others like a float primitive type and a float reference type. Let's look at some examples. Here we have an integer object. It's a primitive wrapper class. And so we can just assign 42 to it, and we can display that, and everything works well. Now, this is actually shorthand for creating a new object reference, passing it 42, and then displaying it as normal. But because it's so common and it's intended to support and fill the place of a primitive type when an object is needed, Java added these shortcuts of not having to formally call a constructor and things like that. It will do it for you. Now let's talk about immutability. So remember that with string objects, calling a string method or reassigning a reference does not change the value of that object. It creates a new object. And so if we had a string here, new string Bombay, and we needed to get with the times and update that to Mumbai, we would have this here. And so this creates a new object and has Indian City reference the new object here. It does not change the original, it changes what Indian City is referencing. So each one of these reference types, the primitive wrapper classes and string objects, are immutable. This means they're unable to change. So let's see an example of that. So here we have, and I'm being very formal, a solution. We're saying the solution is 42, and then if we reassign solution to 7, then what this does is it creates a new object on the heap, and the solution references this new object. Let's see what this would look like on the stack and on the heap. So here we would have solution, and the next thing we're doing is we're creating a solution is a reference to an integer object. It was null before, and initially that integer object had a value of 42. Then we created a new integer object, and it has a value. Its instance data is 7. And so that's what's going on here. And so I wanted to illustrate that it's a new object, and to do that. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it.